Hey everybody, this is Aaron the Pedantic. This is going to be a video that is talking about RPG stuff, but it also is going to involve some personal stuff to a degree. So buyer beware, I suppose. If it ever you feel like this is getting in a direction you're just not interested in, then I completely understand. And you can leave all of your wrath and fury in the comments. Do so. This is something that I felt like making because I've had to kind of evaluate a lot of things. And I think that maybe my experience will maybe benefit somebody out there who could be going through something kind of similar or have been going through something kind of similar. Maybe I'm just incredibly weird and I'm the only person who functions like this. I'm not a doctor, so I really can't say how other people are function exactly. Um, so the topic is really why do I play D&D? And if, as with anything, the reasons why we do things will change over time. The reason that I started playing D&D was pretty simple. I thought it was something that sounded really, really fun. I mean, it sounded like a great way to have fun with people that at that point were absolute strangers. Um, but more than that, it was a way for me to get involved in something that sounded like a better mode of gaming than anything I had ever experienced before, because until then I was forever bound by the strictures of whatever programming exists in some kind of video game, or like I guess just board games or something. But um and D&D just sounded like this absolute free beast that could, go wherever the hell it felt like, wherever it needed to. And that was incredibly appealing. The ability to just use your imagination in such a way, and to have it, have other people, pour their thoughts into this thing, and just create this strange jambalaya of just fucking fantasy goodness. is kind of why it really appealed to me at first. I almost didn't even do it just because the social aspect had me a little bit let's just say that under normal circumstances I'm not really one to go out and just want to do social stuff with strangers. um so yeah, bars and clubs is not really my thing. Well, okay, bars for pool. But anyway, that's beside the point. I'm sorry, this is going to be kind of stream of consciousness. I'm not doing another take. Uh, so, because we are going to be streaming in a little bit and I don't really have a whole lot of time. Okay. So that was why it started. And I fell in love with it pretty much immediately. And, so it went from wanting to experience the player in to being like, holy crap, this dungeon mastering thing sounds really cool. It sounds like a great way to, be able to provide something of value to the other people at the table. And those people I came to really appreciate. Some of them I already appreciated, like my friend James, who I will probably always say is one of the best players that I've ever had. So shout out to James. You were awesome. Anyway, so that started. I went from me being in one game once a week to me suddenly saying that's not really enough. I kind of want to have an outlet for my own creative energy, and I feel like this is kind of where I was in a good space as far as D&D goes. I feel like that was a good spot. One game where I get to be a player, where I get to learn some things from the player end. I think it's important to not get so DM oriented that you forget what it's like to be a player, because I think a lot of times DMs just kind of assume that everything is about how it should be because they would enjoy it. But it's hard to know for sure unless you're being exposed to all these different play styles and things like that. So I think that was probably the best case scenario. But the problem is that I guess I would blame this. I'll blame this on my brain, even though maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just lack of self-control. It ended up not being enough, right? It ended up being such that I had to bring on another game that I wanted to run, and another one, and another one. And so from that point, I had usually about 3 games going on at any given time, and it was unsustainable, just sort of unsustainable. There was a period of time, and people that played in my West Marches game will know. Well, West Marches mostly the public game. They will know that I had a ton of free time for a pretty good length of time. This is whenever the channel really started, you know, I started putting all kinds of stuff out and everything. I really let D&D completely absorb any free time I had. And the question is, why? Why was I doing that? Um, there are probably a lot of explanations. Part of it is that I am a very obsessive person. Anytime that I get really invested in anything new that's just incredible, I do tend to get a little bit obsessive about it. I did this with firearms, like I had to read everything about all kinds of firearms and things like that. But I also, I think that for a larger degree, it just so happened that around the time that I was picking up more and more and more stuff to do with D&D. It also so happened that my personal life stuff was just bad. It was just bad. And just for people aren't making assumptions or anything. It's sheerly on a professional level. I had the worst professional year that I had had in forever. I can't think of a worse time, and I've done some shitty jobs. Um, I just had an incredible professional low. So what did I do? Well, at the moment there really wasn't much that I could do. People were all locked up. It was really hard to find good jobs and all those kinds of things. And I mean, I was looking. I had put in all my applications. I was waiting, and there's nothing else really to do but just kind of sit around. And I think that that's whenever all of a sudden D&D became this thing that I was using to prevent silence, to prevent inertia. It was the only thing that I was able to put this energy in because it was right here. It was always here, especially whenever I had the online play. If it was just a group in person, which at the time we weren't doing at all, then maybe that would have been a little bit more maybe that would have been a little bit healthier. Maybe that would have been a little bit healthier. But instead, I had this constant stream of outlet, the Discord, the YouTube channel. Anytime I had a thought, Twitter, I was able to put it out there, and I was able to get interaction with anybody at any time. And then I had all this time to spend, prepping for these games. And, it's just, I kind of put like everything else on the side, and it's not good. And I think that's kind of the thing that I wanted to impart to people, is that whenever I started kind of coming out of my shell, and I guess just to put like a non-clinical definition, because I'm not a doctor, but this strange cocktail of mine of depression and anxiety, which a lot of times I talk freely about the anxiety. I don't talk about the depression much, just because half the time I don't see it. I'm too busy trying to pretend it doesn't exist by filling up every single moment of every day with something for me to do, because I can't stand the silence, because the silence means bad thoughts. So that's kind of what D&D ended up being. It was maybe necessary in a lot of ways, maybe necessary because there really wasn't much that I could do otherwise. There were other elements of my life that I wanted to improve. And obviously I did. People have seen that I've lost a lot of weight. And, whenever I was at my worst, that's whenever I was like, like 350 pounds. So I did put some of it back on. And now I'm kind of like, I'm at a good spot, I think, but I'm doing like exercise and stuff. So some of it's going to just turn into muscle, hopefully. But those were all around that time, was whenever it was really, really just at this point where I was just doing it to not have to think about anything, to be, to find complacency. And, so now that now that I'm no longer dealing with that particular cocktail, if you will. I do still deal with the anxiety, but it's like, you know, I don't know. It's I see things a little bit more clearly as they are. You know, I realized that I was not spending time with my kids like I need to, and you know, makes me feel like a bastard to have to admit it, but it's the truth. It genuinely is the truth. You know, there weren't times that I was shirking, you know, like scheduled time or anything like that, but I was working on a schedule of doing what I needed to, or what I felt like I needed to, what my subconscious was telling me I needed to do, and then just consuming every other bit of time, when what I could have been doing was being more proactive and trying to make that time more valuable, trying to increase it, trying to actively work to increase that amount of time that I got. And you know, whenever there was anything that made it seem like um, they didn't want to spend time with me, I let those thoughts consume me. So yeah, I know this is really personal. I know it is, but at the same time, I feel like it could maybe help somebody. Maybe there's somebody out there who's kind of going through a similar thing. So I would say there's absolutely nothing wrong at all with making D&D just an incredibly important part of who you are, of how you enjoy things and all that. But I would just say make sure it's for the right reasons. You know, that's why all of a sudden, I mean, I never really cared about how many views I got, how many subs I got. It was one of those things where I would, you know, be delightfully pleased whenever something happened. I did work the algorithm slightly, you know, before, but at this point, you know, I don't give a shit at all. The only thing that I am holding myself to is that I don't want things to be so dreadfully boring that I won't make a video if I think that nobody will enjoy it, because why? Why would I? Right? Um, yeah. So I'm at a point now where I really don't give a shit at all about the algorithm, about really much of anything except for what I need in order to, um, you know, just to enjoy the hobby. And so I have really sadly, I mean, I hate this because I made commitments. I was really loving all these games that I was doing. I had to cut them all down. I'm down to just one game a week. It's my in real life game because, you know, whenever it comes down to having online or in person is the one that I'm going to have to go with, just because it is the best way to go. You know, in my personal opinion, it is the best way to go whenever you can. Um, so Yeah, that is my current status right now. I did finish with Group A, the Moat House, and because of that, I want to do a review at some point. I have no idea when that's going to happen because, like I said, I really don't give a shit. The only thing is that I like doing this, and I like for the people that will watch and interact. I do like I do enjoy that. So um, yeah, I guess that's really it. Just think about why you do these things, and make sure it's for the right reasons. Make sure you're not um, turning your back on things that are really more important, because that's what I was doing for a long time. And you know, I'm finally getting on track. I think, you know, it was very easy for me to just stop eating bad foods and lose weight, but for me to actually dedicate time to exercise and things like that that will really improve the quality of life, or to pursue greater professional adventures, you know, that actually takes work. It actually takes time, and that's something that I wasn't willing to spend. And like I said, you know, time with family. I You know, it's not even just time with my kids. When it comes to my parents, you know, they don't hear from me unless I'm dying. Normally, under normal circumstances, or it's a birthday or something. I'm working to change that. Same thing with my siblings. Um, you know, everybody that's important to me. I just turn my back on everything unless it was right in front of me, and that's not good. So maybe somebody else has that problem. I've been that way, you know, most of my life, but I'm trying to turn that around. So um, we are going to stream very shortly. I don't know when you are going to be watching this, but it's going to be at 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time, which doesn't really matter what time I say that's going to be from, or how many minutes from now, because who knows how long it'll be. But so come in and check that out. I wanted to handle this topic on my own, even though I'm going to like kind of ask the general group for their input, just because I knew this was going to be like kind of long-winded in my part, and I didn't want to make them sit around. So you people will still be free to ask me whatever they want, and I, to the best of my ability, excluding things that are too personal for other people, perhaps, or include doxing or anything like that. I will be happy to oblige any kind of questions. So if anybody wants to, whatever. But I hope y'all are all doing well. And like I said, I will be doing videos now and then whenever I have time. D&D is still awesome. That's not changing. Y'all take it easy. Have a fantastic weekend. Remainder of your weekend. Beginning of your week.